Hello, my XJW friends. I have a story for you. This happened to me when I was probably around 9 or 10. I was really young. It was in the late 70s to early 80s. Telling my age here. Anyway, here's the deal. Well, people get disfellowshipped for committing what the Watchtower considers committing wrongs, and not being repentant, whatever. But what if it's a person that has Alzheimer's? Yeah. In my congregation, in the Spanish congregation of Lamont, California, there was an elder by the name of Frank Ibarra. He's passed away now, but he was in a wheelchair. He had one of those old-timey wheelchairs, and his wife, Leoda, was a white woman, and they were a mixed-race couple that was in our Spanish congregation, okay? Leoda did not speak any Spanish whatsoever. Frank basically was given control of the congregation, the Spanish congregation of Lamont. So, with that being said, Leoda later on got Alzheimer's. And she used to comment, when she would comment, she would always comment in English. So her watchtower was in English, but everybody else's watchtower was in Spanish. And then they would let her comment. She would make small, short comments. And usually her answer was like Jehovah or something really small like that. Anyway, Frank, being the elder of the Spanish congregation, and his wife, they had been pioneers for years. I mean, these were the old-timey JWs, the ones that used to go on the little bandwagons with all the other witnesses, and they would basically tour. So, being that he's like the founder of the Lamont, one of the founders of the Lamont congregation and everything, and having that, behind him and everything, I guess he felt like he needed to make an example of his Alzheimer's afflicted wife. I'm not really sure, because I loved this man. This man taught me to spell my name. So I love this man. But I'm just getting to the point of, how ridiculous is this? And anyway, back to the story. So anyway, Leoda gets Alzheimer's, and she starts doing snuff. And if some of you don't know what snuff is tobacco that is taken in nasally, like that. So that's what she would do. She would snuff tobacco. It's very, very old-timey. I mean, early 1900s stuff. So she did it as a teen, and then she found Jehovah, and she got married, and she went on the bandwagon with everybody else. And then, as an Alzheimer's victim, she went back to the snuff. So, yeah, somebody with Alzheimer's. You feel me? Is that messed up or what? So anyway, this is where I come in. My mom raised me to question everything. She told me to question everything. And yet, when it came to the truth, don't question it. Does that make sense? This is a double standard, and it made, you know, if it's going to be said, it might as well be said across the board. It doesn't, I mean, it's affecting your intellect in that way. So anyway, getting back to Leoda, I questioned that. I was hurt by it. I couldn't understand why they would do this to somebody who was old and such a wonderful and beautiful person. I just broke my heart every time I saw her because I loved her so much. She was such a good lady. She was so sweet. And that's the treatment she got. So, as Frank gets older and Leoda continues to decline more, Frank had some surgeries and some really bad illnesses, and Mom and I would go over there to help Frank in his bed, and he had like a, what do you call that? Now I'm forgetting what it's called. Anyway, well, you know, where the pee drains into the bag. A catheter. Thank you. So, you know, he's paralyzed. You know, he's in this wheelchair. Now he's not even in the wheelchair. He's in the bed now. And Mom and I go over there to help out and stuff. And Leoda comes in and starts talking to us. I put my head down. I look away. I didn't know what to do. I was a kid, and I was told she was disfellowshipped. My heart said, go hug her. Love her. She's good. She's a good person. Why would anybody do that? And Frank stopped her, and he said, honey, you can't come in here and talk to them. And she said, why not? And Frank said to her, because you're not a Jehovah's Witness anymore. And she went, I'm not. And he said, no, you're disfellowshipped. And she said, no. And then he said, you're not a Jehovah's Witness anymore. And it killed me, because the last thing she said when she walked away was, I wish I was. And she walked away crying. This was one of those moments that I was at an age where my thinking was independent enough to hold on to it and say, that was not right. That was wrong. Just a minute. When she died, I guess they had her funeral or her memorial at the Kingdom Hall, which was ridiculous to me, because they only did that because Frank was the founder of the congregation. You know, thinking about stuff like that and wondering to myself, did she ever get exonerated? I mean, just the fact that people get disfellowshipped is wrong enough. But just to take it to that level is ridiculous. So, hard. That's actually a very hard story to tell. But it's only one of many stories that I experienced, but it's probably one of the harder ones for me. But you need to hear it, because you need to know that it happened. Because Leoda Ibarra deserves one last shout out. It's stuff like that I was raised around, that I went into, I swallowed, I took it, I drank the Kool-Aid along with everybody else, and it bothered me. And I was part of it. I was part of the disfellowshipping because I was part of the shunning. So I'm just as guilty for her. But what do we do now? We make amends. So that's how I make my amends. This to you, Leoda. I love you and I always will. You are an awesome little lady. You did not deserve that. You did not deserve that at all. So, I guess I just want you guys to know that name, Leoda Ibarra, from the Lamont congregation in California. I want to give them a call and ask them what the hell happened there. Thanks. Love you guys. You guys are awesome.